Everybody, and welcome back here to my channel. So to get a couple of things out of the way first, um, due to coronavirus, Magic Fest Turin won't be happening, which means like typically I would start preparation for the GP around now and just play a little bit more whenever I have time and connect to my close friends with whom I would have traveled to Italy. But all of northern Italy is currently under quarantine. That's only partially true, but they do have a lot of infections there, a lot of cases, and therefore Magic Festering was cancelled, which is sad because I was really looking forward to it, and we don't have a whole lot of modern GPs in Europe. Next one's going to be in Sevilla, but Sevilla is significantly further away than Italy is, and therefore I'm not yet sure if I'm actually going to go there. Anyhow, I hope to all of my Italian friends that you're doing alright. Um, the virus got us in Germany as well. I mean, it's basically a little bit more intense flu, but I think the mortality rate is around 2%, but only due to higher ages being more susceptible. Anyhow, it has caught up to us in Germany as well. We have got like 600 cases right now confirmed. We shall see where it's going. Anyhow, so the next PT nonetheless is going to be in modern and standard. Therefore, currently a lot of pros are testing the decks that are in modern that are typically not playing modern. Of course, that makes the leagues a little bit more competitive. On the other hand, though, the top dogs here in the leagues will remain the same. The enfranchised modern players, I would go so far. I mean, Canister, we've seen that he's been an MTGO player, and now he's one of the probably 2 or 3 best players in the world. And the other top dogs here on MTGO in their respective formats are just probably among the best that we have in modern, and therefore, well, it's gonna be a little bit more competitive, but not a whole lot, because there's just not a whole lot more room up there. So last weekend, now to my third point, last weekend has seen the Modern Showcase Challenge, which is I think once a month tournament that is a little bit more prestigious because the payout is higher than at a normal modern challenge, and I think you can also qualify for the Players Tour. And it has been overrun by Eldrazi Tron and Amulet Titan. Eldrazi Tron actually a deck that we haven't seen a whole lot in the last couple of weeks. Excuse me. And of course, I hope that's not Corona. And of course, Amulet Titan, which, well, is overperforming anyway. Among these decks, everybody was playing Once Upon a Time. The Eldrazi Tron decks also are splashing green now just for Once Upon a Time. And since next Monday there's going to be a banned and restricted announcement, we might see a change there. So that in order for the Pro Tour or the Players Tour not to become a mess of big mana decks, so WotC might be able to prevent that by just preemptively banning Once Upon a Time or potentially Amulet of, not Amulet of Vigor, Veil of Summer, of course. But we shall see. There's probably gonna be something happening in Pioneer, I assume. The meta has been a little bit too much dominated by combo decks and WotC, since Pioneer is gonna sell more standard boosters and packs than Modern is. I assume that having Pioneer a real combo meta, which is not very enjoyable for newer players who are playing semi competitively and are just making the switch from standard to an eternal format just to get crushed and not being able to play Magic at all. It's probably not where Wizards wants the format to be. Although I would love to play against Control and Combo all day long, but that's just me, right? So now to the deck. Sorry for the very extensive introduction here. So I've put back another swamp here. Now we're playing 23 lands because I do want to have 6 basics, because a lot of decks are running Blood Moon, Magus of the Moon, especially Magus of the Moon actually, in order to fight the Amulet decks. Then there is Mystic Sanctuary, which I just want to have in the deck right now, to just be a little bit more consistent in the matchups against Wirza, etc., where it just sometimes needs to get a card back from the graveyard, like a Kolaghan's Command or whatever. And then there's Cascade Bluffs, because with Croxa in the mix, I just need to have the ability to convert some of my blue mana into red mana. I cut a Kolaghan's Command because aside from Wirza, there's not a whole lot of artifacts running around that I can hit with the Kolaghan's Command, and then since Croxa is our endgame value engine anyway, and I don't depend as much on my shenanigans with Nimble and Snapcaster Mage. In regards to the sideboard, still missing one here. So I reverted back. I've tried Leyline of the Void, and as per usual. So there are a couple of cards that always feel powerful, but disappoint me all of the time. And that's, on the one hand, Thought Scour, a card that I will never put in here whatsoever. Whenever I go back on playing Thought Scour, yeah, it does have interactions, like positive interaction with Croxa, but the downsides are just, like, you're accumulating marginal downsides throughout the game just to hit one Croxa in between, or to maybe hit a lucky Snapcaster when you have a Kolaghan's Command in hand or whatever. But overall, it's just not worth it. And the second one is the Leyline of the Void, a card that... So I played against Canister, I think on Monday or something, and I ended up with 4 Leylines of the Void in my hand on turn, I don't know, 5 or 6 or something, and wasn't able to play the game anymore. And I already mulliganed aggressively for it. So I had one in play from the beginning, but he just sponsored with Teferi, Time Reveler, and therefore, yeah. So I went back here, reverted back to Surgical Extraction, which is actually a good foil to both Thopter Foundry, because some decks are running Goblin Engineer. If you have it in hand, you can just get rid of the Sword of the Meek or the Thopter, the Foundry itself, and you're going to be done with it. It's only really bad if the Foundry is already in play, and at that point, the Sword of the Meek is going to go to the graveyard, because many players are always playing around a Surgical Extraction. Not all of them, but many. Failed Push, Collective Brutality, Jigsaw Jailer is all the same. There's one card that I also wanted to bring to you. Alright, so I actually made a couple of changes, took out the Brazen Borers and the Normal Obstructionists and replaced them with Augmented Charm and Force of Negation. And then in the sideboard I just added 1 Flusterstorm. And the reason is mostly because Neobrand has become some sort of a meta deck. Like, a lot of pros are testing Neobrand right now to just go under Primeval Titan, etc. It's very consistent, and I just want to have an additional out here. Also, to note, I'm visiting my family right now, and I can already show you, I mean, it's still early, but I'm almost certain that someone's gonna be either yelling or talking in the background at some point. Then yesterday I've also seen the top 3 of the modern challenge yesterday. Actually, let me see. This one's today. I can't participate because I don't have enough qualifier points, and that is mostly due to me not Actually, I wanted to play the modern preliminary yesterday, but that started at like 4 o'clock in the morning in Europe. Therefore, I couldn't really do that. We're on the play. I keep. So due to Archmage Charm, this probably needs to be a Steam Vent anyway. And therefore, I might lead with Polluted Delta here over the island. So there are a couple of patterns that I'm just getting used to. One is that I don't just, like with a Force of Negation, because I'm not playing Force of Negation so much in Grixis, therefore my muscle memory just goes with, yeah, for this, for instance, where, so do I just ditch the Archmage Charm? I know it's kind of counterintuitive, but I need to have more mana first anyway. Well, then we're going to do it differently. And we're just not fetching, having a look at what we're drawing. Alright, so it's Eldrazi with insane amounts of expedition maps. Under these circumstances, I actually wouldn't have countered it. It's really bad. So I could take an expedition map to prevent him from having Tron. At the same time, that Shallows of the Void is going to be probably only coming down a couple of turns from now, because he first wants to deploy the expedition maps, then he's going with the land fetch. Alright, so I probably have to go with or against Karn here. Yep. Shit. And this is what I feared would happen if I ditched the opt. And exactly what I feared is gonna happen here. Getting punished. Now we're facing down a big walking ballista that we can only deal with. So I hope that we would have a counterspell up at that point, but yeah. Alright, GG's. Lightning bolts are gonna be ditched. bringing in failed pushes, I'm bringing in Kalitas, and I think that's it for the time being. Could also cut like an Inquisition or whatever. It's actually not a great hand. We have 3 cards in hand that only get good in the late game. Okay, slightly better. So I think I'm gonna ditch the Black Crypt here. Then I have all the possibilities, or all the options. Probably can't counter an expedition map here anyway, even if it were to come down. I'm probably a Chalice. I'm not concerned enough about the Chalice that I'm willing to sacrifice the Force here. Yeah, I'll have to see. Obviously that was gonna happen. Alright. Let's see. There's a lot of stuff that can really punish us here for tapping out. Donsia is certainly one of them. That is weird. Why would you take the Archmage's Charm there? That I really don't understand. So now let's see. Do I need to keep up? Let's say he's playing a Walking Ballista. He wouldn't need to have 8 mana. 12 if I pump the Kalitas. Alright, yeah. I'm just pumping it. Because he would have used the Dismember already if he had it. This way I have a good threat on the battlefield, and it's way harder for Walking Ballista. Yeah, this is 11 mana now. And that's a really weird inclusion to me. Like, many lists are running Karn nowadays. Obviously, the op doesn't help me whatsoever right now, but I can ditch it to a Jace just in case. What's your lost card in hand? So the way you played it here, I assume that the lost card in hand is actually not something really great. So if we're taking a risk and played Kalitas again, I mean, I don't care about the 5 damage that we take, but what I do care about is a huge ass walking ballista. Alright, temple. And the big ballista. Yeah, that is what I actually didn't want to see. Because this makes things really awkward for me. If I block here, kill the ballista with a snap. I'm gaining 2. And that was certainly his top deck. He had the Eldrazi Temple in hand. And the Walking Ballista there. Came off the top. Has crashed. Yeah, if I draw a fail push off the top, that would actually be beneficial, I think, to keep the Kalitas on the battlefield. Okay, so I kill the Walking Ballista, probably the Snapcaster takes a damage. And then I take 2. Then I take an additional 2, go to 8 to cast the Jace. And then I'm at 3 after that Reality Smasher. Alright, Matter Reshaper we could counteract with the Kalitas. So best case scenario, I do draw a K command here. And the lands potentially. So since blocking the Reality Smasher with my Jace doesn't make any sense, and both of these are really bad cards for us. So I target Reality Smasher because of the trample. If I block with the Torpid, then only 1 damage gets through. Yeah, Walking Ballista off the top really fucked us. Now I can't block the Matter Reshaper as well. Well, I can't not block it. And now, of course, a couple of our options are very diminished. Alright, might be another Tholon Seer here. Jealous for 2. Well, that was unfortunate. Alright, welcome to round number 2. I'm gonna keep... Jace does have a couple of nice interactions here. I could also leave the Mystic Sanctuary in my hand and not play it now. And then try to... I mean, we need to fight in red swords anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. That is really bad. I mean, he might take the Drown Loch as well, if he does have removal. No, I'm happy that I didn't actually play the Mystic Sanctuary there. Oh, and we're of course way off of casting that Grixis, even if we have 5 cards in the graveyard. Okay. Interesting decision there. So let's say it is indeed Jund. And if he was going to play a Ren 6 here, then of course Strong Lock would be better to keep up, but he probably also wants to get rid of the Jace. Therefore, I might just get the turn. Yeah. Okay, basic mountain. Now I actually have to go go with the Mystic Sanctuary, since we didn't draw a land again. So basic mountain makes me think that that's not actually Jund and that we're actually playing against some Rakdos Grixis build. And for those builds, we do have a couple of sideboard options, but mainboard wise, it's really difficult for us to interact and beat them. So yeah, I'm just gonna discard our Grixis. And apparently our opponent's missing land drops here. So there's a red source. I don't really... Well, let's shock. Sad that we drew them this way. Otherwise I could have put the Kolaghan's command back on top and had gotten the Jace back. Yeah, for this reason I shocked there. I do want to get value out of my Cryptic while I can. Probably does not have another... Okay. Sort of Feast of Famine, certainly good. So I'm gonna go after this here. And then Archmage's Charm is the only card that actually counters the Grixis in case he has another black and or red source. And we need to draw both a black source and a Cascade Blast. Or just a black and red source. Yeah, he wants to protect his Grixis here. because he doesn't know about my other cards in hand. But on the plus side, so all of this is really like, this is a really grindy, really value-oriented deck. It's basically where John wants to be playing Croxa. I just think it fits better here than it does in John's. So I could go with the Cryptic Command again, because the Sword of Feed and Famine is annoying. Due to the fact that he does have a lot of small creatures, small stuff going on. We're just not drawing lands here. So what's it gonna be, Kyle? To Croxa or not to Croxa? Unearth. Interesting. Yeah, I get you by the skull. That's fine. If you're giving me the turn here, then I'm just gonna draw a couple of cards. Let's have a look with Opt first, and then I decide on whether or not I don't want to have the island. Yeah, Bloodstained Mire is better. And I could decide on going with the Archmage's Charm here to draw additional cards. That will leave me open to a discard spell off the top, though. If he does have a land and a discard spell, that would be bad. But K-Command kind of saves me to a certain degree. So this is black and red, therefore next turn we can cast Croxa as well. Question is, do I want to get rid of that Stoneforge? Because I can of course force the issue. With a Lightning Bolt next turn. Problem is that I cannot protect myself against a Croxa as well. Alright, so I need to force it right now because I need him to cast the Croxa. So that I have a turn where I have the Croxa and he doesn't. One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Would need to get 2 more cards in the bin plus then have the mana to cast Croxa again. Alright, so he's not willing to do that. So let me counter this with the Archmage's Charm. That is a very good draw here for us. Because that allows me to still counter Croxa. So Jace is my only card in the bin that I have access to right now. Lightning wants to go, Jace wants to go. Opt is already going, and I think 1 Cryptic might be alright as well. Alright, also doesn't have a fail push. Yeah, now he's forced to also play the Croxa. And because my Croxa is probably going to discard at least one more spell, now I have to get rid of this. So he's already at 5 in the bin. One additional mana here. I'm going to discard a card. Let's see if that's going to be a better skull. Alright. So how do I make sure... If I play the Jace right now... Because this ensures that I can counter the Croxa again. Unless he found top deck. Thing. Discard spell I was gonna say. And that's gonna be lethal. Cool. Croxa doing God's work here. Alright, so I'm gonna get rid of Jace. Our opponent's gonna have too much removal. Then I actually wanna have these and don't wanna have the Thoughtseizes and Inquisitions. Forces Negation is not good enough. Whoops. But I do wanna have Plague Engineer and I do wanna have Kalitas. Could also see myself, like, my opponent's probably gonna bring in Fulminator Mages, therefore I should probably get ahead of that play a little bit by actually, I mean I need counter magic because he's just more value oriented than we are. Hmm. Now, on the draw, I'm not gonna play the Ashok. On the play, things are different. But with this hand, we can't do anything anyway. Whew, still not a good hand, but we're gonna keep, and we're gonna ditch that dude. So Plague Engineers should be able to So this wants to be a water grave, therefore it doesn't really matter if I'm gonna play a card tapped here or not. So I'm gonna bring in the Scalding Tarn. So I don't think that our opponent's Blood Mooning us, because he's also playing a very black heavy build overall. There's Croxa again. Alright, we're gonna ditch a Plague Engineer, I think. Alright, so this ensures that we do have turn 4 Kalitas. It's a little bad for us that he already had the Croxa there, or could already fire it. Because generally, the later the Croxa, the better for us. And this might be a fulminated mage. Lily. Alright. Now Lily is really bad here. Really, really bad for us. So then I'm gonna ditch the Mountaineer. This Plague Engineer is actually still a card that I am looking to play. I might be just discarding the Kalitas now. Right, there goes a failed push. And next turn he's gonna be able to play the Kroxa. So I'm gonna play the Kalitas. It's gonna die to Lily. Then Kroxa is gonna discard the Polluted Delta. We're completely out of everything. Really cannot. Mulligan in this. Coupling Rebel Master. Okay. So the Lee is probably gonna tick up, therefore I'm gonna wait till he does that to hopefully respond with my snap, which will threaten the Lily. Get rid of the Goblin Rebel Master while there's still cards in the bin. And the Kroxa is also not going to generate value. So overall, I would say it's reasonable, especially because this Season Pyromancer is gonna bite the dust as well. So obviously we need a lot of help off the top. I am not arguing that. Okay. So do things change here? I think now I'm bringing in the Ashiok. I need the Plague Engineers, can't cut them. What happens if I just cut the cryptics? Go with Jace's and yeah. I mean, in it by itself, it's a decent hand. It's just very, very weak to discard spells. There we go. So I'm not gonna fetch yet. He's gonna take the Ashiok, of course. So I'm gonna get rid of the lightning bolt here. Because if he's playing it Lily next turn, then I can't flash it back to threaten her. Got his own Ashiok, alright. So I don't need more than 2 blue sources anymore. Therefore, I'm just gonna go with a snap. And then we're trying to threaten our opponents. Targeted himself. Okay. He shouldn't have life gain outside of Lily, I assume. Therefore, if we can... Interesting. Alright, so definitely does have something. Okay, command of his own. No, fail push. Okay. Alright, so we do have lethal in hand, which is already good. Now I actually hope that he's playing the Croxa. Alternatively, a Thoughtseize would also do. Lily. Okay. Failed push is gonna hit the bin. Now it's gonna activate the Ashok. Nope. Okay. Return and damage. Wait.
Ist das dein Ernst?
And there we go. Alright, welcome to run number 3 here. We're on the draw. And apparently we're playing either blue-white control or we are facing a bunt version. Alright, looks like typical blue-white control. We're gonna go after the Teferi here and then actually maybe I can't even go with the Jace there. I might need to get rid of the timely reinforcements first. Because he will just play it and then I'll have to deal with it. Jace can take care of 2, but yeah, I think I'm just gonna go with Thoughtseize first. Alright, so opponent apparently thinking about forcing it here, but so Mystic Sanctuary will still take a while till it's online for him. And therefore, at that point, I might be able to have already flipped the Jace. I put a card on top. Alright, snap opt. Rather have that than put a core on the bottom. Alright, so everything but a Jace here is fine. Okay, so seems like our opponent's coming around around with the Cryptic. Sanctuary is still there. Alright, Hollow Fountain we did not know about before. And this might be either a Teferi or Forest plus something else. Alright, so if I fetch here, he's certainly gonna act, right? So I could take the Jace up to just keep the Snapcast MH in check. I could also go with an Inquisition because I'm gonna bolt the Snap. Yeah, probably want to do that anyway. So I expect that my opponent does have at least one more counter spell, aside from the Forces Negation in hand. And I want to have him play at least one more card into the bin here for my Drown Unlock to become a little better. So if this is going to be a Force Negation, that's fine. His Mystic Sanctuary is of course now online. And I waited here just in case we're fighting over this. Another Force. Yeah, exactly as I thought. So Cryptic commands come down. But Cryptic isn't great if you have a Colonnade in hand. Therefore, I might just go Snap Terminate here to establish a board presence before more things happen. And then we're trying to protect it with our own counter magic here. I don't really mind being hit by a Colonnade once. Alright. Yeah. And he will probably, I would assume that he's gonna grab the Mana League there off the top with another Mystic Sanctuary. Okay. So did not fetch with the polluted delta, which means if he's going to attack with the colonnade now, yeah, this is almost getting out of hand a little bit here. Like, we need to draw some interaction for those colonnades. Don't really mind if it's cryptic, because we cannot take lands, of course. Another snap would also do the job. Alright. So now at least we do have double bolt, which means potentially I could bounce the colonnade there, find another snap or another bolt, and then we would have lethal. Yep, that is what I would have done a while back. To just be able to interact on the stack with the colonnade activated. Torpid is one turn too slow. Very likely is. Yeah. Alright. Blue Delta, certainly also not what we wanted to find here. Snap though is pretty alright. So bold, bold, snap, bold. If I go bolt now, I should have not played that creeping torpid. That I should have. So 3, 1, 3. Yeah, should no. We're one short now. That was pretty bad of me. That was pretty bad. With the blue delta here, we would have just had lethal through the mana leak. Because bolt, snap, bolt, and then I'm short. So I need to double bolt a colonnade here. Or to go with a snapcaster drown. This is the play that I thought about before, just going for lethal. Okay, yes. So let's see. We still do have lethal here, and the terminate provides us a little bit of backup. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and I still have 3 up, right? Do you have a force of negation in hand? Well, it don't matter. Alright, so could have won one turn from earlier, but I think it's still alright. Typically, Kroxa isn't great here, but I need to have some sort of threat or threats. He's probably going to bring in Ashiox, which will increase his threat density. So typically Ashiox would be the correct choice here, but I think I'm happier with Surgicals in the spot to just fight on the stack a little bit better. Especially because we've already seen 2 force of negations, there's likely going to be a third or a fourth. And on the play, I would bring in the Flusterstorm as well. But on the draw, I'm too concerned with having too many counter spells in my hand once a Teferi comes down and I can't prevent it. And that would be horrible. And therefore, we are where we are. Okay. Especially on the draw, Surgical is actually a pretty good card. So opponent might be thinking about forcing here. Opting just well, I guess he was looking for lands. So Monastery Mentor, I know many blue-white control decks are bringing that in, but I don't understand. Like, I don't see why against a deck that is very removal heavy for the most part. So, sorry, completely dying here out of the throat. And let's see if he's stumbling on mana, because we aren't, which is neat. Apparently he isn't as well. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. That is... Those are your 2 draws, a land and a Narset. That is actually... Very annoying. Very disappointing. Now, of course, I do have a problem with that. Never mind. So I'm going to keep the polluted delta just in case I want to go. Dude. So he's going to wait for 5 mana to protect the mentor there. I'm still not going with it. Alright. So I could put the Thoughtseize back on top. Does have a path. If I put a Thoughtseize on top, he's gonna go Cryptic with it. And then the turn after, he's gonna get a token out of that's Mentor. I need more lands. Cryptic commands. Alright. So I think we're putting the Thoughtseize back on top. Bounce something in his turn. He's mana leaking it, which is fine, I think. Then Thoughtseize is probably going to be eaten by a Force. Force, Cryptic Command, Monastery Mentor. Okay. So it's good to know that he does have another Mana Leak there in hand. Because then I can force, like if he's playing something and protecting. So this is currently his hand, right? These 5 cards. So currently he doesn't have any threat to play. Therefore, if I go with Logic Knot here, no, I'm gonna let it resolve, then terminate the Snapcaster Mage on his turn. I could of course Surgical here, the opt in response, but as I said, like I want to have the combat, the trick there when it becomes relevant. Put a card on top, so probably a land. Yep. Another Thoughtseize. We're just trading blows here for a bit. That's fine. We don't lose the life. I don't think there's a whole lot that he could have in hand. But I need to find both utility lands and also Snapcasters at some point. Really, really weird the way we're drawing here. Feel the Ruin. Okay. So first we're gonna get rid of the Mana Leak. Also to have a look at his hand and see what he's actually up to in total. Could of course in response go and fetch a Mystic Sanctuary to put the Mana Leak back on top. Alright, so this will mean that he only has one card to protect it with. Which means this okay. And then we're gonna Cryptic. And then probably Force our Force. That's very risky what he does now because he wants to go with a Cryptic here, of course, but now the next turn he's also drawing a Force of Negation and doesn't have a threat nor a Colonnade. Now we're drawing lands, although that's a little bit too late. So I know the last card is Force and Path, and since I also know that there's not anything that's common right now, unless he Field of Ruins himself. So I'm just gonna go to Cryptics, okay. Yeah, that's probably the play that I would have done with Force of Negation on top now. Fielding myself, or, you know, using Field of Ruin so I can search my library and potentially not draw whatever is on top there. Alright, I need all the blue mana that I can get. Therefore, just gonna go with the Steam Vents here. So as I said, like we still need to find the Snapcaster Mage at some point. Creeping Torpid with that Field of Ruin on the battlefield, no, doesn't really do it. We're also already down to 8 minutes, which is a little bit scary. I'm going to play the Creeping Torpid next turn because even if he kills it, that at least enables me to cast 2 Cryptics a turn. And also now, it doesn't matter anyway. So last one of those. And then I'm probably gonna go with the 1-2 punch combo to get rid of the Celestial Colonnade with K Command and Lightning Bolt. Because that still leaves me with a Cryptic Command backup, even if he's gonna go with the counter. So I know he has 2 forces. And not anything else. He would have to draw. Have to have drawn something like a. He did? I should have taken a look at his library more closely then. Oh, that was a Dovin's video, alright. Sure. It's gonna get that one additional draw, which already is very annoying. But again, like, I don't know if I like these plays. He has a Force of Negation now, of course, so I need to do it in his upkeep. And then we really need to start finding Snapcaster Mages. So now we got 2 turns time to turn the corner here. I can put it down to 7 with the Torpid. if I play the snap next turn, whatever I play will be countered. Discard the path does have Dovin's Veto in hand, but that Logic Knot doesn't really help me at all. Alright. Another one. So K command is too important to waste it here. Therefore, I'm just gonna go with an Archmage's Charm. Draw 2. Because it doesn't get us anywhere getting rid of that Colonnade. Bolt. So this is 5, and then we're still too short. Sad. Now we have to be really fast. Only 6 minutes left. That means that Grixis coming back, and Terminate's gonna go because we need to be the aggressor. And then I also want to have a Flusterstorm. Alright, let's go. Okay, so ditching this. So I'm just trying to get around counter magic here. And since I want to use the Archmage Charm next turn, plus I also can put it back on top at some point. Yeah, can't let that resolve. And this would have cost me at least 2 turns if I hadn't played the Snapcaster before and went with the value plan here of going with the Opt. Alright, so I'm gonna keep the Mystic Sanctuary back for the moment. Just so that if I draw a Bolt or something like that, that I'm potentially going to be able to get it back once more. Okay. No, There's the lightning bolt that I was talking about. Which means... and you see, he's already getting a little bit squishy here. Alright. Can't fight over that, so I need to find another one within 4 minutes, 5 minutes time. Fuck. Norset, Snap Snap, Teferi. So the snaps are annoying, but I can't do anything against the Norset, therefore I'm gonna go with that one. Got so much mana, just need to find something to actually use it for. Okay, Kego Man by itself is good. Archmage is good as well. So he still does have all of that. That's gonna be a close one. This is gonna be a close one. Alright. Now with the fours, I'm actually willing to trade blows here. Draw 2 cards in his upkeep. He's not even countering. Interesting. So he's just trying to outlast me. Go with the timer. Yep, makes sense. So we got our 8 damage, 8 of damage in hand. Need to go Ethergast? Need to go with Dovin's Veto. Fuck. He's just accumulating discard spells here. Counter spells. There's a path still in the bin. Oh, come on. Putting the Dovins Vero back on top, yeah. Alright, so go on deck. Need to get a snap. Alright, so 2 snaps, Cryptic, and a Dovins Vero left, yeah? So... Fuck. Come on, Snapcaster. Oh, fuck my life. Another one. Another one bites the dust. The real problem is the Dovins Vero. I can't play around most other things. Lol. Boom! Got there, bitch. Alright, that was a pretty cool one. Pretty close in terms of time. Also, we did not have the resources. Like, there's still 3 Snapcasters and 2 Jaces in our 21 cards here. And we also had all the lands on the battlefield that we possibly could have. But overall, pretty happy here. And of course, also one more Croxa. Alright, welcome to round number 4. And we have a keepable hand. Blue Moon, no, Blue Flash Moon, whatever. So I'm gonna go get rid of the Cutthroat here, because currently we don't have an option of getting rid of it. Well, there would have been. I guess pretending here against a Flash deck that we have a counterspell doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So here we really have to be a little bit careful with our life total in comparison to the last one there. So I think I'm gonna take the snap. He's gonna use Archmage's Charm here to pull ahead. I'm gonna force the negation, the Archmage's Charm, since he's playing on my turn for the most part anyway, and I don't want him to put it back on top. Alright. And these types of matchups, one really feels the lack of Nimble and Brazen Bora, because we're definitely missing threats, and we're just throwing to Snapcaster Mages, and that is just that's just little. But it's also like why usually or typically we don't play leagues where we just play against control decks. So Mystic Sanctuary here means that he probably doesn't have more lands in hand, and we need to play around that Spell Snare. Now I'm a little bit tempted to play faster than last time. Yeah, that's it. Like, that was actually good. Like, waiting for having a remand up there as well. I guess if I go Cryptic here and bounce something, then he's either gonna respond with a Cryptic or just remand it. So in this game though, the Croxa is a little better. Just by the fact that... So I need to stay above 9, therefore I'm not gonna fetch for a Mystic Sanctuary here. Since I made that play before, it wouldn't make any sense for me to not do it again. And that's fine with me. It would have had Spell Snare there, chose to not use it and go with a Lightning Bolt instead, I guess. Brazen Bora. Is he playing Forces as well? It's possible. And if he is, then... he might have also already have Lethal in hand. Okay. This is actually what I wanted him to do in order to reduce the pressure on my life total. Ah. Oh, then it's a weird play to go after the Jace. Anyhow. Again, chose to not go with the Spell Snare there. Alright, him remaning here means that he probably does not have a useful counterspell in hand right now. Because you would typically get rid of the Colligan's command in any way. Let's see. If I can cast my... Nope. And now, of course, things look kind of grim, just in terms of value. But we shall see. And of course, in this matchup, we are the dog, the underdog. Cryptic commands, eh? Well then, I am drawing 2 cards here. So I need to take a turn off with a Cribbing Torpid, because I need to go after this motherfucker. Alright, Croxa is a card that I do like here, and just in terms of value, but as I said before, we still have to somehow survive. Just 2 bolts will already do it. Can't counter here. Armored Charm, sure. So I'm gonna go with Drown here, because that will allow me to cast the Croxa. If he's countering it with the Cryptic. Yeah. Alright, and he's drawing a card. He could have also bounced the Triggering Torpid. Oh, come on. So now, discarding Brazen Borrower here. I need to try to counter the Snapcaster Mage to block it, because he will have 1 bolt at least. Alright. So I want to have Flusterstorm. Jace is not great here. Terminate, like I need the removal spells. Thoughtseize is probably a little bit too much, so we're gonna go with this lineup. again, like I really can't afford bringing in Asher here. We will be blown out this way or that way. Um, Alright, before we start with the league, I actually made a couple of changes, like while going in myself. So as I said, I've tested a couple of cards this week, and I've actually been impressed with Cling to Dust. Like, I didn't play it in Grixis, I actually played it in Esper Control. And against John, it basically won me this game by itself, like drawing 5 cards or something, and exiling Troxa and all kinds of good stuff. Getting a little bit of life back, and overall it was just a fantastic card. Plus, I do believe that not only because of Veil of Summer, but because many decks are actually trying to get cards into the graveyard, that discard spells are actually quite bad. So we do have Fatal Push in the main board for maybe the first time ever in 9. We had it, we played it before, but yeah, it is still atypical for me. So Fatal Push, Cling to Dust. Then I've also opted to play Forces Negation and Archmage's Charm, because of course Archmage's Charm is great with Mystic Sanctuary, but on the other hand, I also want to be able to counter, for instance, Thopter Foundries, Sword of the Meeks, the Breach things, and all that kind of jazz. So we're running around with a very counter-heavy and a very graveyard Haiti deck list here. So let's see where it gets us. I'll just play a league. It's probably not the best setup to fight Titan decks. I mean, we are playing a couple of Ashioks, but without the added threat density here through Brazen Bora and Nimble Obstructionist, especially Nimble Obstructionist. That matchup definitely is worse. Yeah, for the first time in quite some time, I can actually keep a hand and say we can beat a deck with it. So needs to have black, probably Watergrave, then I can go Sacred Foundry, so burn. A Stoneforge deck. Alright, so this makes things a little bit different. So I want to see if he's actually going for a Better Skull here. Yep. That you would typically only do if you also have access to the Stoneforge Mystic, because otherwise it's pretty difficult to get down. And therefore will take it a while until he can actually do stuff here with it. So I'm gonna go with a Blood Crypt, kill that thing. Now, it's possible that we're running straight into a Teferi here, but I can't really help it. I don't have the tools to prevent that, and I expect actually to have these matchups go a little bit worse than they usually do, just because of not having targeted discard and, more importantly, not having the information about my opponent's hand. But yeah, so turn 4 should be our turn to get Croxa down. There's probably a Teferi coming, right? Yeah, sure. No, Sahili! Oh! What up? What up, Sahili? Alright, so then I have to adjust a little bit. So Sahili probably means that there's not a whole lot of counters running around. At least I hope so. And so I'm gonna wait here. He doesn't know, like, up until now we look somewhat like a mid-range deck here, a Rakdos mid-range deck. So I can't get the Croxa down next turn anyway, because I can't risk running into Sisahili. So I'm gonna go with K command, target the Sahili. If it's not being countered, then I'm gonna go his upkeep and target the Sahili again. So therefore, it's fine for me to just fetch an island here. And then go with a turn 5 Croxa. And if it gets countered with a spell clutter, I would assume. Okay, I remount. That's also interesting. Cascade Blood is actually pretty good now. So Sahili mildly annoying here with the upticks. And he has to decide, he still does have that better skull in hand. Alright, so Season Pyromancer means that I'm gonna go counter and bounce that. Should not be able to do anything about it. And if he doesn't have a 5th land here, then we also don't have to worry about him going off. Next turn. So this will allow me to play the Croxa unopposed. Unless he has a spell snare, but yeah, that is somewhat unlikely. Force negation. That's a good card to know about. And then next turn, if this Croxa should be hit by a Path to Exile. Actually, I don't think it changes my play pattern. Probably gonna play the Croxa and keep Force Negation and Kolaghan's Command up next turn. Stoneforge. Doesn't do a whole lot right now. And this is what I meant, right? Fails to find equipment even. This is what I meant, like there's just so many people running around with Season Pyromancers right now. It is astonishing. Alright, so it does have 2 equipments in hand, plus Sahili. And there's a sword. He's not blocking. Because, of course, he wants to play the Badger Skull. But... that's not gonna work out. Yeah, he probably is forced to play the Badger Skull, but he knows about our Kolaghan's Command, so... no. This one. We have 9 damage through Croxa anyway. Double Croxa. Alright. So it seems to be an interesting matchup here. As I said, we have to be careful with a Teferi. But I do like having force of negation here. I think I'm actually going to cut the Kroxa. This is probably going to bring in hate. Plus paths. No. Can't cut it. Then we're just, like, with my Nimbles and Brazen Boras I could cut it, but now we're just lacking win conditions. Yeah, and thus I would almost say that we're just running it back here. I've seen Remand, therefore I could go with a Fluster Storm or something, but I also don't want to be hit by that Teferi too hard. I think I'm going to keep this. The Cling to Dust is just a cantrip off of a fetch land, so... And the Force of Negation gives us a little bit of protection. And I'm just, like... I don't know what's going on with Moto, but I'm playing actually more lands, and hands like these are actually more common. And by more common, I mean, like, I have to mulligan every second hand. Alright. Cling to Dust, of course, doesn't do a whole lot if our opponent isn't playing green. And thus Uro. But I can still go after that Seven Visions or whatever. Put one card on top, one card on bottom. Oh. Oh. And we really have to hope that we're hitting a... Oh my goodness. Come on, give me a land, boo. Nah. I mean, close. I can't complain. Moto, it's fine, that's fine. I ain't complaining. And then once I get the Jace hopefully down... I mean, Drone Law's just a dead card now. But the Jace is actually get way better. And that's a weird thing to say, I know, but in our current position here, I just need to have the ability of going, of just looting my dead cards away. Alright, so probably a Remand there sitting in my opponent's hand. Which makes my decision all the more interesting. So I could go with a Snap. On his turn to just threaten his life. Because he's down to 12 already. I think I'm just gonna go with a Jace here. Yeah, would have been fine with actually anything but a Remand. Like, just counter it or whatever. Don't remand it. Season Baromaster. Well, that card's also significantly worse now. Snap and a Feudal Rune. So at least that means that we're getting that Jace down. And Jace also can block a little bit. But obviously, just drawing more lands would be the best. Path it and I'm good with it. Just don't... Okay. Yeah, he's brought in a lot of graveyard hate. Charm, Terminate, Opt. Thankfully no red source. So it does have a counterspell still in hand, therefore I think I'm just gonna pass here and ditch the Jace. Still think I have a little bit of utility with the other cards, therefore I think that's fine. Our opponent's deck is very greedy, does have Fairy Islands. That is definitely a problem. And even discarded another Season Pyromancer. So I'm trying to engineer a turn where okay. So I'm gonna shock here. Our opponent's keeping up one counterspell at all times. Let's see if he's going to be very aggressive here, and he is. Alright, so we're going to block here, then Bolt there, and I think we're going to drown off the other one. Huh. He's going after Snap. Okay. So another blue source. There's Teferi. So yes, I do have to go with the force here. Good. And then I can use the Jace to loot. And I want to loot a Lodging Not Away. Ah, that was bad. Shouldn't have played it. That was just pressing on it. That actually would have been a better looting target here, especially because of the Ashiok. And as I said, like there's something in this game already. Like this is our second snap with a third in hand. Block, block, and this one really needs to get through. Okay. I think now I'm gonna start ditching lands because we've so many and there's just not a whole lot of use anymore. Archmage's Charm is a good card here. Definitely is a good card. So I could start racing, but he's been very restrictive with his spells there. So I think I'm gonna wait one more turn, try to snipe an elemental. Also didn't fetch with that Scalding Tarn, so I have to assume that there's still a counterspell coming. Okay. So that means so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Even with the Mystic Sanctuary, I do not get to play both. And now I'm just gonna go after one elemental here, keeping the Archmage's Charm up. Because this way we can. He has to act first. Because we can't just block and be happy about it. Until we draw a remove spell. So our opponent's very willing here to protect his Seasoned Pyromancer. Okay. Let's see what he does. If he does have a counterspell here. Up and coming. He might also just be going with trying to accumulate 3 bolts. Alright, still good that I did not actually go with the Archmage's Charm there. probably was meant to get me out of the defense, because the remand itself didn't make a whole lot of sense. So there must have been another counterspell as a backup. He's also drawing somewhat few lands only. Like, we're ditching lands all the fucking time. And our opponent doesn't seem to draw any. Not a whole lot anyway. Alright, so if I go gain control here, I could be running into another mystical dispute, of course. But otherwise, I do have a very good board state on my side. Okay. Cryptic Command still up. So don't really care about the Ashiok, therefore I'm just gonna ignore it. I assume that my opponent does keep at least one removal spell for that Creeping Torpid. Plus he also still has to have the combo somewhere. Let's play up first. Yep, perfect. Another Lightning Bolt, opt to blow the deltas. There is Felidor Guardian, which of course is likely to go after that Ashiok, and is a good blocker as well. So I'm gonna try to counter this, and he should only be able to stop my Cryptic with a top-decked Mystical Dispute, otherwise he would have already done that last turn. And now we do have lethal on board. Well, Cling to Dust also doesn't do anything. Let me see. So Felidor Guardian is likely a multiple in his hand, right? Therefore, we'll probably be getting some of it next turn as well. Let's say he has another land that he has sandbagged, right? So that he goes Saheeli, play Saheeli, tick up, then play a land. No, he can't do that, right? He has to do it the other way around. Let's play Felidor Guardian first, untap a land source, which you would have to shock. So that Kolaghan's command will be lethal. Alright. I'm just gonna go in with these. Because if he does have a Saheeli and does go with a Saheeli, yeah, perfect. I mean, not perfect, but good call there by me. Although I have to say, like, I think he undervalued my Jace. Okay. Reveals Better Skull. Terminate and Cryptic. We only got 14 cards left in our deck. These will be 8 more, so I get 6 cards to work with. And this is 3, so 1, 2, 3, 4. I still have the Kolaghan's command up, therefore I'm not doing that. Logic, not you say. Okay. So Better Skull by itself is likely going to be too slow. Croxa would have been good, but there is also still 1 Lightning Bolt left in our deck. So let's go Fatal Push here. He's gonna play the K command, which means yeah, that was what I was looking for. Another land. So now I can go Torpid attack. Alright, doesn't look like it. Alright, cool. But otherwise, like, if it does have like a Lightning Helix or whatever, I am actually able to counter it here. Or, of course, respond with a K command. Alright, cool. Very interesting first round here. And off to the next. Welcome back to round number 4. I am so fucking displeased with the last round. I mean, you can only play around so much. At some point, you just have to. With our hand here, what the fuck is going on? So our opponent's playing a 1-lander. Just drawing lands all the fucking time. So I could, of course, go with the Snapcaster Mage here and try to block, but I need to start digging into my deck. Guessing Monk, Mage of Ambrook. Yep. So I need to keep Jace up because I actually could die next turn. Worst possible outcome. Okay, meddling mage, don't care a whole lot. Okay, so Jace will have saved us 1 life here, and next turn he will also be able to block the champion. Plus my Snapcaster can start blocking. Dude, are you kidding me? What is going on with all the lands here? This can't be real. This cannot be fucking real. Alright, gonna play the Warrior Grave tapped. Pass the turn, then block the champion of the parish. Get rid of the meddling mage. Actually, might do that now once he cracks that flooded strand in order to just get rid of whatever he does have in hand. I mean, Fail Push isn't the most threatening of hordes, but... Oh, that was actually good, yeah. I honestly do not understand where all of our non-land cards are. This is so insane. So infuriating. Alright, so I guess what I'm doing is whoops. I'm targeting the champion. He's gonna crack the clue. Yeah, I should have targeted the Thrave Inspector because now it's actually beneficial for me to already go with the Snapcaster Mage and get rid of the champion. And that will cost me a... Oh, that was a good hit there with Thalia's Lieutenant. But it will cost me life points. That might be crucial. I could have played that out better. This is not fucking real. Okay. At least something. So the play here is play the islands, go K command, kill an inspector, return Jace, return Snapcaster. Then we kill the champion of the parish. Champion of parish, not champion of the parish. Hopefully only take one, because it doesn't seem like he's playing Mantis Rider. So we're down to 3. Another Thrave Inspector. Shit. Actually, these Thraben Inspectors aren't bad draws here against me. And I've already said it before, I think humans is currently undergoing some sort of evolution or metamorphosis, where it does so here I'm just slowing him down. I'm gonna target the Loch, and in case he's not willing to play something into it, I'm just gonna kill the other Thraben Inspector, since I still do have my Cryptic Command up. And our opponent might also actually be playing a collected company. Like, these humans lists are going way over the top in terms of value. So can't really let that resolve, because he might be lucky and just hit my Cryptic Command. I'm gonna leave the Scouting Torn open as well. And obviously we're just trying to find the Croxa here to actually get something on the battlefield. And I'm using my Cryptic Commands whilst he does not have access to a Cavern of Souls. Galditas coming in, Plague Engineer coming in, Fatal Push coming in. I actually think that Cling to Dust might be okay, but Collective Brutality is probably better. And then I'm taking out all of this, and all of this. Well, that's a little bit too much. So you're coming back, and you are coming back. Oh man, that. Let's see. Yeah, alright. Still got tone. I'm still so pissed about that match before. Like, one time being blown out, having everything under control, and one time being blown out by choke, and then the second time being blown out by so I can't start off with the mountain because of Cascade Bluffs, still providing me with the ability to go triple blue. I could actually see letting that Thraben Inspector live here. There's probably something more important to hit, unless there's a Thalia coming. Okay, so he wants to fetch with a clue, and that means that I'm going after this here. Oh my god. Telling you, 23 lands doesn't work out. It just does not. He's just cracking the clue there. Yeah. Lots of value for our opponent. And he's taken a Thalia's Lieutenant. We're probably gonna get rid of the militia bugler here. And then next turn draw a couple of cards. This way we're not great at answering additional stuff, but at least our life tool is also not threatened. And it just needs to buy some time until we actually draw cards that do stuff. Yep, Champion of the Parish is good, but I will take it. I just hope that this opponent is not playing Veil of Summer as well. I mean, he could, right? So, yeah. Okay, command, sure. Okay. Dude. So want to have the snap just because I potentially can keeping the green open makes me nervous. I have to be honest. Reflector Mage is actually pretty decent for our opponent. So I have to counter the Reflector Mage next turn. Because he can reflect the champion. That is also an option. Yeah. So both add mana here, which also makes things a little bit awkward. Therefore, I probably have to go with my snap. I did want to play the Polluted Delta because I actually want to use Mystic Sanctuary at some point. Hopefully he doesn't have another one. Nope, he does. So play Croxa. Play Rotary Grave tapped. Probably bring in the snap. Champion over the Parish eats the bin. Eats the dust. It might have also been better to just shock here. Nah, Logic Knot wouldn't have been good with all that mana. Yeah, that's definitely making things more difficult. Dude. Come on. So let's see. If I don't block here, I take 9-13. And then next turn, but he has to reflect the mage, my Kali does. Otherwise I can block 3, get 3. No, I would still be dead. So I take 9. And actually need to draw a removal spell here. We've seen him play Path to Exile last round. Yeah, I can only survive this if I also do draw a removal spell here. Yeah, he's having Crocs up, but it would have been better to bounce the Thalia's Lieutenant. That's absolutely unreal. Okay. We play Kalitas. Well, he has to play around being blown out, right? We block 1, 6, 8, 10. Otherwise, would have been great, but yeah. Okay. Removal spell there off the top, and we just blow him. Okay. I think I need the flexibility here of Cryptic Command over Logic Knot, especially if we, in the early turns, have to be careful with shocking ourselves. Alright, Moto, this time I'm actively asking to draw land. So, worst case scenario, I do not use the fail push here because my drown lock is not super great next turn. Meaning that he plays a Thalia and I won't be able to do anything else anymore. Therefore, I'm going to keep the fail push here until end of turn. See what he's actually doing. Alright. Forge Tender is okay. And that's a Kitkin, that's why he played that so awkwardly. You got to be kidding me, man! Everybody's playing this card. Even humans. Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. You have got to be kidding me. Alright, still gonna... Yeah, I'm still gonna get rid of you. Motherfucking shit. godforsaken card. Godforsaken, I'm telling you. Charming Prince. So I could go with Plague Engineer right now. That does not feel correct though. I'm running into another Veil of Summer first. So play is play the Snap, block the Burnt Forge Tender, thus get Fail Push unlocked. Kill the Militia Bugler or whatever he's playing afterwards. So hopefully there's no Thalia's Lieutenant right now. Also coming. Then we actually get value out of that Plague Engineer. Interesting. Opponent just passing here. So either he doesn't have any non-1 toughness creature in hand, or he's just stacked with Veils of Summer. If he's attacking, I'm going to block with a Tar Pit. Yeah. Alright, so in order to not get completely blown out by another Veil of Summer, I'm just going to return my Snapcaster Mage here. Okay,